Hello to all you beautiful people this fine day, and thank you for joining me for yet another debunk. Today I'm looking at somebody I haven't looked at before, Frank Turek. To my knowledge, he just does apologetics and no science, but hey, we might get surprised. Odd, isn't it, that somebody has to apologize for believing the truth? I know that's not what apologetics is. Actually, the definition of apologetics is right above my head. Just because two words sound the same doesn't mean they are the same thing. At any rate, I don't think the apologists, especially the Christian apologists, really read the definition of apologetics because it's supposed to be a reasoned defense. And they don't have any reasoned defense for believing. Lately, apologists have gone the route of trying to put science into their apologetics, but that doesn't really work because when it comes right down to it, apologetics is my book says. That's all it is. So who's Frank Turek? Well, he was born in 1961. He got a Master's of Public Administration from George Washington University and a Doctorate of Ministry from the Southern Evangelical Seminary. He's probably best known as the founder of Cross-Examined and Apologetics Ministry, and he co-authored a book called I Don't Have Enough Faith to Be an Atheist. Ah, yeah, I saw some light bulbs go on over some heads. You know, I think it is absolutely hilarious that even Christian apologists see the word faith as a derogatory term because they use that with atheists. And while you're thinking about it, if you're new, why don't you go ahead and hit that subscribe button? And if you've already subscribed to me, make sure you're still subscribed because for some reason, YouTube loves to unsubscribe people. Also, if you're new here, I'd like to thank you very much for giving me a chance. And for my fans and subscribers, thank you so much for coming back. You are the lifeblood of this channel. And now, with that, let's get on with the video.
All right, Frank, so why is apologetics so important for a Christian? I mean, why should we even care about studying this topic and preparing ourselves? I mean, can I just love the Lord Jesus and love my friends and worship on Sunday and study my Bible? Like, why is it important?
Good question. Why is it important to learn how to defend your faith? Look, if something is true, it doesn't need to be defended. It might need to be explained, yes, but not defended.
Good question. Two reasons. Number one, because reason demands it and Christianity commands it.
Nice catchphrase, Frank. Did you think that one all by yourself, or, did you have to have, uh, I don't know, maybe some help? At any rate, apologetics is not reason. Apologetics is just excuses. I do have to agree with you on one thing, though. Christianity, or rather Paul, does command it. I forget the verse, but it says, be ready to give an answer to those who ask of it. Maybe that's Peter, I don't know. It's been a while since I've read that particular verse, so, forgive me if I mix up my Peter and Paul, but at any rate, it's not Christianity. You ought to know that, but for some reason you don't.
Let me talk about reason first. Just give you a little story. About 10 years ago, I got an email from a United States Marine. So I knew this man was no wimp, right? But he wasn't writing me, Alan, as a tough guy. He was actually writing me as a distraught father. He said, my daughter was the top Christian student in her high school class.
Seriously, dude? You do know that servicemen and women have children, and they are not the same in their professional lives as in their personal lives. Come on. Who of us is the same? Come on! At any rate, I was lucky because by the time I came out to my dad as an atheist, he just didn't fucking care. I don't think he ever really cared about religion, but that's neither here nor there. So yeah, it's not too surprising that your daughter was an uber Christian, especially if she grew up that way, because, she was taught that that was the way to be and to, force her beliefs on other people. So, yeah, not surprised at all.
Anyway, she went off there, and this father said, 6 weeks into her first semester, I got a phone call from her. He said her words devastated me. She said, Dad, I don't believe in God anymore.
Well, if it only took 6 weeks to erode her faith, then her faith wasn't that strong to begin with, was it? Um, at any rate, um, but yeah, and that's assuming that the story is real, which I don't know. At any rate, 6 weeks is an awfully short time. It took more than 6 weeks for me, I can tell you that much. But let's just give it to you, okay? Um, she probably had only heard creationist arguments and straw men. I know this may be hard for you to understand, so let me say this very slowly. When you are raised on nothing but bullshit, when you learn the truth and you learn that you have been raised on nothing but bullshit, you change your mind. Just in case that was too difficult for you to wrap your head around, let me put it another way. When people find out that you have been lying to them and feeding them a bunch of bullshit, you have major, major trust issues, and they will never trust you again.
He said, don't believe in God anymore. What? He said, I got in my car. I drove 4 hours down to Chapel Hill that next weekend. I sat down with her and I got nowhere with her.
Why can't people leave us the hell alone? We leave you the hell alone. If you want your faith, go ahead and have your fucking faith. The only time we object to you having your fucking faith is when you try to shove it down other people's throats. Now, I understand this is your daughter or your friend's daughter, and I don't have a daughter, so, I'm definitely missing some context here, but why not just let her go? And yeah, I know you're going to say, but I can't let her go because if I let her go, then she's going to go to hell. Why is it that Christians think that hell is a gotcha issue with us? We don't believe in hell. Just like we don't believe in God, we don't believe in heaven, we don't believe in devil, and we don't believe in hell. But assuming this story is true, you know what you could do to, I don't know, make her feel a little bit more comfortable about her former faith? Have some evidence, but you never show evidence.
He said, "What do you mean you don't believe in God anymore? What happened?" And she said, "Well, there's a professor here at Chapel Hill who says we don't even know who wrote the Gospels and the Bible has errors in it. So, Dad, I'm an atheist now."
So, one of your friend's daughter's professors told her two facts about the Bible. Not lies, facts. And that is, we don't know who wrote the Gospels, and there are errors in the Bible. And now she's an atheist. Well, I gotta say, those are kind of dumb reasons to become an atheist. There are much better reasons to become an atheist, like finding out exactly what those lies are, because some of the lies in the Bible, they really don't even matter. And as for not knowing who wrote the Gospels, of course we don't know who wrote the Gospels. But I don't know an atheist alive who became an atheist because we don't know who wrote the fucking Gospels. And honestly, it doesn't fucking matter who wrote them. Now, obviously, I wasn't privy to the conversation, but if I had to guess, my guess would be that she said something along the lines of she was disappointed that she had been lied to all of her life. You know, with the whole Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John actually wrote the Gospels thing, which, by the way, some Christians don't even believe that. Some Christians actually believe the secular scholars that we don't know who wrote the fucking Gospels, okay? No, knowing my own experience with deconversion, I would have to say more than likely she became an atheist because the trust in the church was broken. Now, of course, I don't know this for sure, and she really should start looking into things before she decides one way or another. But atheism is the default position.
Now, Alan, do you think any young woman in 6 weeks could investigate all the evidence for and against Christianity and decide whether it was true or not?
Yeah.
No. She couldn't do that in that period of time.
I agree. Nobody in 6 weeks can get to all of the evidence before and against Christianity, not even if they were a speed reader and a genius. But I can tell you that she probably already knew all of the arguments for Christianity because, let's face it, you people have nothing new and have never had anything new for probably the last 50 years or so. At any rate, she couldn't even have gone through all of the evidence against Christianity. However, I can tell you one thing that she could have done in 6 weeks, and that is she could have investigated enough to know that you people had been lying to her entire life. And that pisses people off. But let's face it, and I am specifically talking about Yickers here, not the entirety of Christianity. You people do not have the option of being honest. Because if you were honest, people would not flock to you anymore. Actually, let's face it, they're running away at record speed, which is a good thing. You know, they found out they were lied to and they don't trust you anymore. So that really puts you in between a rock and a hard place. On the one hand, you have to lie to keep your sheeple, and on the other hand, if you do start telling the truth, well, they're gonna run away from you anyway. Except the really, really hardcore people who, let's face it, I mean, there are people who just are blind to the truth no matter who tells it.
What happened is she went off to the college unarmed. She had no evidence that Christianity was true. She was just told, just have faith. Well,
here we go with another meaningless war analogy. You know, has it ever dawned on you that maybe your people, in addition to finding out they've been lied to, are just sick and tired of you saying it's going to happen any 5 minutes and it never happens? And by it, I mean the rapture. But I do know that there are some Christians that do not believe in a rapture. So those people are just waiting for, Armageddon to come, which isn't that much better. No wonder people are suffering from stress overload these days. Yes, some of it has to do with working and whatnot, because you have to work 2 jobs nowadays to make ends meet. But, Christianity makes them stress out too. What the fuck? Look, people, relax. We've never been in a spiritual war. We're not in a spiritual war now, and we will never be in a spiritual war. Okay? Save all of that energy for when we do have a actual physical wars, which is kind of like all the damn time because, we're humans and we can be downright shitty to each other. But other than that, just chill out, take time out, and smell the goddamn roses. Is there something wrong with just having faith? Because, believe it or not, Frank, that's all you people have. But I'm glad to see that even you see the problem in just having faith. Unfortunately, there are no good reasons for believing in Christianity. Every fucking reason you can think of to believe in Christianity can be applied to any other faith system. In fact, I have more respect for Christians who just say, well, I have faith. Instead of using all of this science to try to justify their belief in a God. Like, I mean, really, you guys come up with the most god awful arguments from science for God.
I'll tell you what, when you get to college, the professor, when professors say things, they don't say, just have faith that what I say is true. They try and give reasons for what they believe. And
it's more than just professors, but maybe that's just a nitpick. Anyway, we don't just try to give reasons for believing what we believe. We actually give reasons for believing what we believe. And it's funny to hear you implicitly acknowledge that reasons are better than faith. Gee, I wonder why that could be. Let's see. Could it be that that's exactly what it is, that reasons are better than faith? But you know what? If you want to believe in God and have your faith, I'm not going to keep you from believing in God and having your faith. Just be man enough to say it. And while we're on the subject, quit trying to shove your belief system down other people's throats because, for fuck's sake, Frank, we live in America. We already know the fucking story. Everybody in America knows the fucking story. So leave us the fuck alone. Congratulations on getting through this shit show of a video. Um, apologetics is kind of boring. And so I think what I'm going to do is sprinkle these types of videos liberally into my science debunks. And by science debunks, you probably know what I mean, but I'm specifically talking about where Christians try to use science to bolster their claims. That's not science, that's pseudoscience. But anyway, I didn't get too far into the original video. It's just that I had a lot to say. And, you know, it's great to see that even people like Turek see the problem here. So don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, comment, it helps the algorithm. Also, don't forget I am now on Odyssey. You can find the link in the description, and you can follow me over there. And I'll see you later.